Hello everyone, I'm Calculator Coder 99, and in this video I'll be going over conditional statements in TI Basic for the TI-84 plus CE graphing calculator. Just like people, computers often must make decisions based on the information they are given in order to complete their tasks. Let's see how the decision-making process is implemented into TI Basic. First, here's a scenario. It's a summer day and you're thinking about going to the beach and taking a swim. However, you only want to go if the temperature outside is warm enough, let's say at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit. We can code a program that simulates this decision in TI Basic. Let's create a new program and call it temp. T-E-M-P. Since we're working with temperature. First thing we do is let's grab a new input command, and then for the description type in temp. Question mark space. Oh, almost forgot. Gotta add an insert and quote since we're dealing with text. Let's turn off our alloc. For the variable, let's store it in T, which we'll use as the outside temperature variable, which we will grab from user input. Next, let's start a new line and enter the program menu's CTL or control tab, where we can find all the control statements for programming. Let's set the cursor on the if statement and enter the catalog. We can see that after the if statement, we have to type a condition, something that's either true or false. The next command line will execute only if said condition is true. And then after that, all the command lines just execute as normal. Let's type our condition that temperature must be at least, or in other words, greater than or equal to 70 degrees. Let's do that. We type T for temperature. Then let's go into the test menu by clicking second math, where we find all our logic operators and other conditionals. Let's select the greater than or equal to operator, type 70, then let's paste the line. Let's start a new command line, and then start a disp command. Let's type in it's warm outside, so say I-T-S W-A-R-M, and then outside is O-U-T-S-I-D-E. And then close it off with the closing quotation. Let's execute our program. So let's enter in a temp, let's say 75. Since 75 is greater than 70, the condition is met, and we get the message that it's warm outside, because our input met the condition. What if, when we execute this program, we type in a number less than 70? Nothing was executed, because we didn't program anything to happen if the condition wasn't met. Let's program that now. Let's reopen temp, and start a new command line. Let's type in a new if statement and type in my mistake, forgot the alpha, T, and then let's go to test is less than 70 for the condition. For the next display line, let's type in it's cold outside. Outside is the last thing we need to type. Alright. With that done, if we execute it now, let's type in that below 70 number again. Now we have the it's cold outside, because the first condition wasn't met, but the second if statement's condition was met. So that's why it says it's cold outside. What if we want multiple commands to execute if a condition is met? Let's reopen temp, arrow key down to the first if statement, and then under that, let's click insert, enter, to enter a new line below the if statement. Let's enter the control menu, and then arrow key down to the then command. Let's click on the catalog. We can see that using a then statement after the condition of an if statement allows us to execute multiple commands, that's more than one, plural, if the condition is met. Without the then, only one command can be attributed to the if condition. Let's paste the then statement, and then let's do a new line under the first display statement. Let's get another disp statement, and then let's type in hit the beach. So let's type in HIT space THE space BEACH. And then if we turn off our alpha lock, we can do something cool for the exclamation point. Let's go into the math menu, arrow key right to the prob tab, and then click on the fourth option, which is an exclamation point. Let's end this off with a quotation mark. Next thing we have to do is insert a new line under that display statement. Go back into the control menu, arrow key down to the end command statement, open the catalog, and then we can see that we can use the end command to identify the end of a blocked out code of if-thens or other control statements. And this will end that attributed statements. So let's paste it. Now let's do something similar for the second if command. So let's insert a new line, get a then we'll display some more by getting a new line, getting a display command, and now let's display stay indoors. So STAY space INDOORS. Then let's get an exclamation point. And then the last thing we have to do is get another end statement. Now let's execute the program. If we fulfill the first condition, have temp be greater than 70, both these display lines will execute. It'll say it's warm outside, then it'll say hit the beach. And if we instead fulfill the second condition, the third and fourth display lines will execute. It'll say it's cold outside and stay indoors. Now we've programmed both parts of our decision-making process, but there is a way to make our program more efficient. Since the conditions of being at least 70 and being less than 70 are opposites, ergo, if one is true, the other must be false, and vice versa, there is another command we can use. Let's re-enter the program, and then let's delete the first end, the second if, and the second then. And then delete 2 of the 3 empty lines. Then let's enter the control menu, and then arrow key down to the else command, the else statement. Now let's enter the catalog, and then we can see that after an if-then statement, an else statement will execute its attributed commands if the original if condition is false. In other words, if the opposite condition is true. Another thing I do want to note is how this catalog entry uses a different command line syntax. As shown in this entry, what really separates 2 command lines from each other is the fact that they're separated by a colon, not just by the fact that they're on a new row. And that's why at the beginning of each new line, there's a colon there. Let's paste the else statement in place of the 3 other statements. And now, if we execute the program, it should function the exact same way. As you can see, the exact same function happened, but you were able to delete 2 lines. The reason why we use the else in place of a second if in this situation is because the else statement removes the need to check whether the opposite condition is true. Because if the original condition is true, the opposite condition must be false and should not be executed. This shortcut improves the program's efficiency in the long run. What if we also wanted to take the temperature of the water into account, have it be no less than 75 degrees Fahrenheit? Since there are 2 inputs, you would need to program 4 output pathways. There are multiple ways to program the scenario, so I'll go over an efficient way to do so. Let's create a new program, call it temp2. Let's create a two new input commands. And for the first input command, we'll have the text be outside temp, so O-U-T-S-I-D-E. Oh, made a mistake. And then temp, T-E-M-P, question mark. And have it stored into O. The second input statement, we will store water temperature. So water temp, W-A-T-E-R, and then temp, question mark, and then quotation mark, and store that into W. Next line, let's start an if statement and type in O is greater than or equal to 70 for the first condition. And then the next thing we need to do is reopen the test menu, go to the logic tab, and select and. Then we input the second condition. W must be greater than or equal to 75. What this AND keyword does is state that both of these individual conditions must be met in order for the overall condition to be met. The next thing we need to do is add a then statement, then display perfect weather. So let's get a PERFECT space, then WEATHER. Then let's get another display line. Type in, hit the beach. So let's do HIT space THE space beach, BAACH. Then for exclamation point, we can type in this F2 to bring up the shortcut menu for this, and then type in the exclamation point. Then we have to add an else statement. And then this is where things get complicated. This else statement will only execute if one of the individual conditions is false, but it doesn't consider which condition is false. In order to distinguish between the three different remaining scenarios, we have to put some more if statements inside the else statement body, a process called nesting. Our first if statement, forgot a new line, will have if O is less than 70 as its condition, and then if that condition is met, we'll make it display it's cold outside. COLD, and then OUTSIDE. Alright, and then we need another if statement to see if W is less than 75. And if that condition is met, we will display it's cold in the water. THEWATER. Notice how even though the text wrapped to a new line, since there's no colon at the beginning, they're still part of the same command line. The last command will just be a general display outside of either of these if statements that will display stay indoors. And then put an exclamation mark at the end. Put my A-log on again. Alright, last thing we need to do is put an end to finish off the else statement. So what this entire else statement does is it will display it's cold outside if the first condition is the one that is false. It will display it's cold in the water if the second condition is the one that's false, and if both are false, it'll go through both of these if statements. And then, but no matter what, it'll always display stay indoors, because the general condition is false. So let's execute this program to test. First, let's test out the first condition. If outside temperature is 80, and water temperature is 80, it's perfect weather, so we should hit the beach. If outside temp is 60 and the water temp is 80, it's too cold outside, so we should stay indoors. If the outside temp is 80, but the water temp is 60, then it's too cold in the water, and we should stay indoors. And then, if the outside temp is 60, and the water temp is also 60, then it's both too cold outside and too cold in the water, so we should stay indoors. Congratulations, you just learned about basic conditional statements in TI Basic. That's all I have for this video. In the next video, I'll elaborate more on booleans, the concepts of true and false, and how they're used within conditionals and variables. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.